Thank you all for coming. I'm very excited about this adult ed section, and there's lots of people at home here that are watching. Thank you all for being here. And this is the first one of my journey, where I am and how I got here. And we're gonna start with a very interesting start with Emily Bird. She's at a point where we all were at some point, ready to leave the nest, ready to jump off into adulthood, ready to leave our family. We can all kind of relate to where the bird is leaving the nest. There we go. All right, you got that one. Okay. So we all can relate. We may not be able to remember, but it's going to be. I'm very excited about hearing her story. Emily and her family have been here for about 12 years, and she's going to attend Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama, this fall, and she's leaving our little community. Emily, I want to pray for her. Good quick prayer.
Yeah.
Dear God, thank you for bringing Emily here. Thank you for what she's learned and just all the great, exciting things you have in store for her. We need to pray. Amen.
Hi guys. So I'm gonna start my story off. When I was born with mild cerebral palsy, which is a disability that affects my spasticity and my tone of speech and my legs and the way they move. So I was born with that, and I struggled for about I have been struggling for years with it. And when I was younger, I was in a lot of PT. I had leg braces and a walker, so I couldn't really walk by myself for many years. So I've always struggled with that. I accepted Christ at a very young age. I was 3 years old, and I grew up in the church with my wonderful family. Mom, Olivia, Maddie, Lincoln, Maddie. So, and they're just a great family. I've always grown up knowing that Jesus is my Lord and Savior. And he's just amazing in every way. So I started ballet as a physical therapy when I was younger. It was just a way to get my body moving without it actually seeming like it was PT. So it was a great way to do that. So I've been doing that from age about 3 to when I was 16 years old. I stopped after COVID. But it was like that active PT for me. So I did that, and I struggled with my walking and my spasticity and all that pain. But luckily God did a miracle in me, and now I can walk and speak and talk like the doctor said I wouldn't be able to do on my own. So praise God for that.
Yeah.
So I lived in Nashville for about 5 years at the beginning of my life. And then I moved to Chicago when I was about 5 years old. And I started at the Joffrey Ballet, which is in Chicago, the big ballet studio. And I'm just so blessed to have been there for all these years and learning all the different things that I have and just having my body move in a way that I never thought it could. So I'm just so grateful for that. And I was even blessed in being in the Joffrey Nutcracker, which I did for 2 years. And the first year I was a little party boy in the wheelchair because it was a good part for me to do. And then the second year I got to actually move my body more and be a snatcher angel. It was very cool. So those were enjoyable years for me. I will always treasure those. So in elementary school, I was bullied for about 5 years for my disability. I was very different from other people. I had an aide from about kindergarten to my 8th grade year in middle school and halfway through freshman year until I went to Timothy Christian. So I was always very lenient on her, but I became very independent over the years too. In middle school, I started to go to First Pres youth group, which was pretty cool. We played games a lot. It was just such a good time to worship and learn about God more. But I still felt like I really grasped my faith at that point. I didn't really read my Bible all through middle school or in fact elementary school. And I struggle with like really grasping that idea of having a savior and someone that loved me and cared for me no matter what I did. So I was still struggling with that, and then youth group kind of helped me build that relationship more. And then I got confirmed in 7th grade at this church. And I truly believe that Jesus Christ was my savior, but I still hadn't really grasped that fire that God really puts in your heart. So, moving on, I went to OPRF for about half a year. It was my freshman year, and before I attended there, we visited Timothy Christian, which is in Elmhurst, and it's a great school. And we visited there, and I was very like against like wanting to transfer there for the whole year, because I was like, no, I want to be with my friends. I want to like be able to like be with them. I don't want to like go to a random school where I know no one. And all through my first semester of freshman year, I just felt very anxious all the time. I felt a lot of anxiety. I struggled with my faith a lot too. Like, I told people I was a Christian, and people were offended by that, and I didn't really understand why. So I kind of came to terms with, okay, I'm a Christian, but I need to know like why it's such a big deal, you know? So I decided, I took my biology final end of freshman year, and for some reason, like I was in line, I was about to like go walk out the door, and the Lord just kind of tapped on my shoulder and said like, hey, like you're not coming back here. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was kind of like, all right, that's probably just my mind, like saying things weird. So I just thought nothing of it at the time. And then it was Christmas Day, and I was like at my grandparents' house, and I was alone, and I was just thinking about my freshman year and how much it just like damaged me inside. Like I was a straight A student. I had like a 4.0 GPA, but I was just so anxious all the time and like stressed out, and I just was not feeling it. And I was alone at my grandparents' house, and the Lord just said, you're gonna go to Timothy Christian. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't want to go there. Like, I know no one there. It's a new experience. So by the end of it, though, I was talking to my parents, and they were like, they would still love for you to come, even though it's halfway through the semester. So I was like, okay, we're doing it. You know, like, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea why I'm transferring, but I just need something better than what I'm doing right now. So, long story short, after an amazing trip with my mom to NYC, I transferred to Timothy Christian. And I struggled for about a year in that school, but it was so different because we had chapel, we had small groups. It just grew my faith so much, and I kind of realized like what the body of Christ really looks like and what it's supposed to look like. And it just grew me so much. I struggled with friends for about like half a semester at that school because I was new and coming in halfway. So I really struggled with loneliness a lot during those first couple of years. But God truly blessed me with some great friends during those years. Yeah. So sophomore year, things got a lot better. I finally had some friends, everything was great. I actually wanted to pick up my Bible my sophomore year, and I started to do that, and I started to turn on worship music on my way to school and just start to grow in that relationship with Jesus. And everything was going great, like amazing, okay? And then March came, and lockdown and quarantine came, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm growing in my relationship with Jesus. Why is it like shutting down the world, you know? Like, I didn't understand. So, my whole quarantine, I really struggled. more struggling with identity and a lot of anxiety too. So that kind of like brought that back into my life because I was alone. I didn't really know like if I could talk to people, friends, like if they want to talk to me because like school ended and we were just so isolated. And I just really struggled with that. And after my 16th birthday, I applied to Maranatha Christian Camp, which is in Michigan. It's a Christian camp that serves families. And I applied to be a worker in the nursery and toddlers room, and it was really amazing. Again, like I was very unsure about it. I was like, I don't know if I even want to do this, but I did it. And it really showed me like how people can really exemplify Christ in their life, and it really made an impact on my life after that. So like we had Bible studies there. I got to learn how to be a leader, even though I was just a worker. Like I didn't realize like I can be a leader in this atmosphere. So that really just brought me some like leadership skills, and I was super blessed with that. So after Maranatha Christian Camp, I started my senior year, and I was still like very like at this point I had grown in my faith a lot. I was very happy, and this year has just like flown by. I've been blessed to know like that my identity is in Christ and not anything else, and I'm still working towards that. I still say like I'm learning so much every day, even though I have been a Christian for so many years. Like I still consider myself like learning so many new things every day. So I'm like nowhere near done. I was blessed to have the opportunity to be a leader in a small group at my school to lead senior girls in worship and Bible like study. It was really great. And I was also blessed to have to go on a trip to Costa Rica where I got to bless multiple families. We built houses and it was a very homeless area. And I was really happy because there were like little kids there, and I got to like learn how to communicate in Spanish a little bit, even though I had no idea how to speak Spanish. And so yeah, that was a true blessing, and I'll never forget that. And I think the Lord has really blessed me with that that gift to like communicate with children and to know like how blessed they are and how loved they are by their Creator. I've also been amazingly blessed to be part of a Bible study with a bunch of Timothy Christian girls. I had no idea who these girls were until I like just joined. And now they're like some of my best friends, and I love them so much. And now we're like leaving, so it's sad. But like that was just so cool to like be a part of that. And now this summer I'm gonna go work at Maranatha Christian Camp again, and actually be a leader in the tots and nursery room, and I'm super excited about that. So, and then I'm gonna be attending Stanford University in the fall with a major in interior design, and I'm super excited to do that too. So.
You said the kids at OPRF seem to be like offended because you were.
Yeah, so there was a whole issue actually because I was walking with a friend, I think, and she was talking about like how she met an older couple that were Christian, and she just like was not happy with the way they acted or like how they presented themselves or anything. So, and then I got like on my guard because I'm like, whoa, I'm a Christian, like this isn't okay. So I kind of like spoke to her and I was like, hey, I'm a Christian, like not everyone is like that, you know? And she kind of like distanced herself from me, and I didn't really understand, and I blame myself too, Cause I was like, okay, is this my fault or like her fault? Cause like, I don't understand like why she's offended, why can't we still be friends, you know?
Her fault, Emily.
And I
If there's any question. I think Amanda's agreed.
yeah. So yeah, that was a really big issue for me in high school because it just caused a lot of anxiety in me because I was like, I'm losing a friend. I want everyone to like me, you know? So I didn't really understand why she didn't like me that much. Eventually, after like a couple weeks of prayer, I sat down with her and I explained to her like why I said what I did. And she's like, okay, I understand, we can still be friends, and like, but I still like just felt very offended and just very unsure like what being a Christian meant at the time. So just really wanted to grow in that. That's why I attended Timothy Christian. So yeah, but there was a whole issue with that. So
Emily, tell us about Sanford
Sanford.
and why you picked that school.
Okay, so I chose Sanford because they have a very centered Christian values. Their president rocks. It's super cool. Their campus is gorgeous. There's like trees everywhere. And their interior design program is pretty cool. The way they do it is they show you like different businesses that you can use it for and equip you with a lot of skills where like you can basically go anywhere and use your major. So it's super cool and I'm like really excited about that.
They actually brought interior design students, the freshman class, to Chicago this last April.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very intentional about bringing these students into real spaces to talk about, to really give them a good vision for what they can do so they can be really centered on what the students want to do for the rest of their time, so.
Emily, you told me you were going there because it was warm.
That too.
It's also gonna be very humid.
I know, yeah, no, I'm so excited about that. Like I love the snow here, but like,
It's not always.
it's supposed to like April here and it's crazy.
Snow and CP don't mix.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah. So we don't like that, so we like the warm weather, but yeah. So that's kind of why I'm going there, but
What size of school is it,
it's about like 5,500 students in all, 100 graduates, so I went to orientation this past week and there were about like 150 kids in my session. So we have like 6 sessions, so it's gonna be about like,
There are 950 incoming freshmen.
yeah, it's crazy, so.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm the size of a piano.
Yeah, that's nice.
So, yeah.
Well, you have a roommate?
Do I have a roommate?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I did the randomization thing because I wanted to leave it up to the Lord. Because I was like, I don't know if I want to pick someone that I won't get along with. So,
So you will have a roommate,
I will
but
have
you
a
don't know who
roommate.
she
I
is?
don't know who she is yet. I'm still praying. So, yeah. It'll be good.
Where's the campus?
It's in Birmingham, Alabama.
Were there certain Bible passages that were important to you when you were really
Yeah,
discouraged and
uh-huh.
very,
Yeah.
well, what was important to you?
So-
What helped you?
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. So,
What did you put on your graduation cap?
I did, okay, yeah. On my graduation cap, I had Psalm 139 verse 14, which says, "For I am fearfully and wonderfully made, your works are wonderful and I full of." And that is something that is kind of like carrying me through my high school experience because I was kind of a minority at LPRF and Timothy Christian for having a disability because I don't think I ever met anyone at Timothy Christian who had a similar disability as me. Like maybe there was one like that was years after me, but like everyone else was very new to it. So when I shared it with them, they were like, "Oh, like I had no idea," and I was like, "Yeah, like you really can't see it, but like I do have cerebral palsy." So, but that really carried me through my high school experience. I think it's that burst remembering that like I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and I am made in this image, so I shouldn't let anyone tell me differently. So, yeah.
Do you have the video
What video?
that your uncle did?
So that is actually a VR set. Okay, so I should talk about that now. So my uncle did a film about me. It was like a short film. And he did it in like the VR headset motion. So like you look around and you view it. So it's pretty cool. But he basically wanted to capture like my story with cerebral palsy and that journey through ballet. So he basically filmed me doing different steps, doing my lifestyle, and it was pretty cool. So it like showed what it's like to have CP and like my vision for that and what I want to do with that and what I want to show with my dance and like how I present that. So
Is it on YouTube?
There is one.
there was like a trailer on YouTube.
There's a
but-
trailer that he did that was
It's not
for
the
something
full
different, and I think if you look at,
I can find it.
Steve will find it.
Yeah,
But yes, it is on YouTube.
but it's pretty cool.
Emily, you used the word struggling a lot, difficulties a lot, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but my experience has been those are things that really, first of all, they're part of being a human, I think maybe even a little more of being a Jesus follower. I know you think that that's important and that God has used those difficulties to shape you. Is that, are there the kids, like, we'll just speak about Timothy Christian, is that a common belief? Oh, this, is it, this difficulty is, I don't like it, but it's helping, God's using it to help me come better, or is it more life sucks?
Yeah, so is that like the mindset that I've seen at Timothy Christian? Is what you're
Yeah, I'm asking, what is, I can guess what it is at OPRF, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering at Timothy Christian if it's, if you're a minority there in your belief that difficulties,
Yeah.
they're hard.
Uh-huh.
And, look at,
Yeah.
my wife's helping.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty mixed. At Timothy, there are people who have been there the whole life and do not have like any faith, like I've seen it. And there are people who are just very new to it and still struggling and knowing that it's for a reason. But I know like I've seen people who have so many struggles like depression, anxiety, all that stuff. And they just really take joy in that. Like my best friend, she struggled with depression all her life and just suicidal thoughts. And she's the most like joyful person there is. And like no one would guess it. It's like crazy. Like she spoke about it the other day and like everyone just cried. Cause like they had no idea like she had been through that because she's just so happy all the time. So, but yeah, so it's pretty mixed minority there, but yeah. So,
Are you gonna continue dancing down in Alabama?
so I thought about that and I hope to find like a dance studio down in Birmingham. Or at least take dance classes because I still want to keep my body moving and doing what I love. The problem with Joffrey was they have a limit for the youth division. You have to be 16 or under. And during quarantine, I reached the age of 16. And classes were getting pretty like, I don't want to say like boring, but like just like less enjoyable for me because it was on Zoom and like there was no one like there critiquing me and telling me what I was doing wrong. And at that point, I'm like, okay, is my body moving in the correct way or like if it isn't, So I really hope to be dancing at Sanford, but I have no idea at this point, so hopefully.
Maybe talk about how your disability has also allowed you to bring some empathy to other dancers at Joffrey.
So I actually want to talk about two people really quick. Their names are Emma and Lark, and they both have CP like me, just more like severe. one is in a wheelchair and she struggles with walking a lot. And then the other one just has more speech problems. But they're great. They have taught me a lot of lessons in the dance department for cerebral palsy because usually I remember when I was little I would complain about how my body was moving and how I wasn't able to do a spin, a spin. And I wouldn't understand why God wouldn't let my body do that, what I wanted it to do. So I would get very frustrated with that. And then I met these two girls during my Nutcracker experience and I was I'm this ungrateful person because they are having so much fun with the way their bodies are moving and it is more severe for them than it is for me. So they really just brought the joy back into my dance and not caring what other people think and just bringing empathy to others. Over the years, I've gotten to know a lot of dancers, young and old, and hopefully I've touched your lives. I know that I've shown a lot of love to every single person I've met at Joffrey because I just want them to know that they're loved and seen. And it's really helped me stay humble in my journey too, knowing that I can't do something, but the Lord still gives me strength in that, and it's not weakness. So, yeah.
I can relate to my body not doing the right things. Every time I go to golf and I miss the ball, so
Yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah.
I second that.
But it was pretty good. I actually want to tell you guys. So I can't ride a bike, but me and my dad, we went to the park yesterday, and I was like, I'm gonna ride a bike. I need to do this before I leave for college because I want to ride a bike. And I actually rode a bike yesterday. Pretty cool. But I still struggle with my body not doing the right things and I still get frustrated every day, but yeah, just knowing that I'm so gifted, that I have the opportunities that I do to bless other people, it's just so humbling to me, so.
Now, it sounds like you have a pretty close walk with the Lord, and there's those two times when God was right there, you're not coming back to school and you're going to Timothy Christian.
Yes.
But also it sounds like you kind of were wrestling a little bit, and sometimes you were kind of mad with God about kind of where you are.
Yes, I was very upset when I went to Timothy. A lot of times I feel I was why am I not at Opera? I have so many friends there, I wouldn't be lonely like I am now. And I just didn't get why he was moving me from a place where I thought I was happy when I wasn't, and moving me to this school that I have no idea who everyone is. And but over the years I've seen why he specifically did that because my best friend actually goes to Opera, and I went to a football game with her one day, and I was all right, it'll be super fun to see everyone and get to know people. And I went in, and it just, my spirit just felt such just so different because I just saw people and the way they acted and how it was so different from how I had learned things from Timothy Christian, and just it was so different. And I ended up leaving the game because I was I don't know if I can stay there, and that's what God kind of saved me from, because I was I saw where my old group of friends was at too, and I was I could have still been in that group and changed myself a lot, and I'm just so grateful that he took me out of that position and moved me somewhere else where I could grow into this whole other person. I was better than the one I could have become, I don't care. So. But he's pretty cool for doing that, just stepping in there and like being very direct. That's just like one of the few times I've heard like God be very direct with me and be like, you cannot stay here, you have to go. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. So, but yeah, like I still feel nervous to this day about like leaving Timothy and going to Stanford University, but I know like even though I'm scared and I'm nervous, like he's doing it for a reason, and I'm going there because he wants me to, because he knows there's something there that I need. So, yeah.
You are fully equipped.
Yeah.
Emily, oh wait, well,
Yes.
wait, can I ask you something? I wanna ask you, first I wanna ask you something. But I can't do it out loud, and then you can decide if you wanna talk about it.
Wow.
Sure, I can.
Okay.
I can do it. You can ask me.
Okay, well, so Emily, do you wanna talk a little bit about, so you went to Timothy Christian, and there were some struggles
Yes.
with friend groups and feeling
Friendships.
completely isolated at
Yes.
times. Do you wanna talk about that?
Sure, yeah.
A little bit?
Okay. So
I
I
asked her first, make sure she was okay with talking about it.
no, Sarah's a witness to that because I used to come to a small group and talk about that a lot, and I struggle with that. So first day at Timothy, I actually met my best friend, but I had no idea she was gonna be my best friend. I just thought, okay, like she's super nice, she's super cool, like, but I want to be in a group of people. So I was very focused on that, and I found this group that was super nice. I thought they seemed super nice. It was like a group of guys and girls, and I really, really idolized being in that group for a while, like about a year and a half. And I hung out with that group for about like 2 years until I realized like they don't really want me here. You know, like I need to be somewhere else where I'm valued and like known, because I would sit there at lunch and I would not be included in conversations. I would like feel just like left out all the time. I would see them like hang out without me, and I'm like, this isn't cool. Like I want to be somewhere else. So, and my best friend actually, right now, she was in the same position where she was like, I want to be in this group, but like, we're just different because this group wasn't necessarily like focusing on having that relationship with Jesus, and me and her really were. And we kind of just like separated ourselves our junior year because we were like, we cannot like stay here, we need to like make our own group, and that's what we did. So I struggled with friendship a lot in high school because I idolized that group for like a while, and it wasn't until like my senior year, the beginning of this like year, that we separated ourselves and like kind of brought a couple of other girls together and made our own group of people that really want to focus on that relationship with Jesus and like know that we are known, we are seen, we are loved, and like just have that as the center of that group. But that was a real struggle for me all through high school. I like came home every day crying because I was like, why won't they like accept me? Why won't they talk to me? And I thought it was something wrong with me, but it was actually like a lack of maturity on their end, because they wouldn't really realize how I was feeling, even though I was telling them like, hey, I feel left out. Can you like invite me to stuff? And it still wasn't clicking for them. So like eventually I saw myself like leaving that friend group and finding like a whole different group of people that really had and really like established what I wanted in a group. So that was a real struggle though. So yeah.
Preach, Carol.
Any more questions?
It sounds like you have a good idea of what you want out of
Yeah.
life. And you've even taken some pretty big risks to get what you want, and really have consulted with the Lord to take you on a probably a more difficult path in some points, and
Yeah.
probably you are happy that you took those risks. And the next steps of life,
Yeah.
it's lots of different kinds of risks, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've all been there. Everybody in this room has been there, and know what kind of risks are ahead of you, but I'm really proud of how you stayed true to yourself and really kind of
Uh-huh.
seen what the right path is, even though it's not the easiest path necessarily.
No, it's not easy. Like, I thought being a Christian was like, oh, butterflies and rainbows. But I'm like, no, it's not. Like, just because you accept Christ in your heart does not mean your life is gonna be easy. Okay, it's gonna be the opposite. Actually, it's gonna be harder. But it pays off in the end. Like in those little moments, like I know, like this is what it's all about. You know, like just being here with other believers and like worshiping Jesus and knowing like your real identity and not what the world tells you. So like it's just a real gift to do that, yeah. But he's brought me through so much, I'm so grateful to him, so.
You have such a positive spirit in you. I wonder, have you always had that, or do you feel like, and that's what
Yeah.
helped you, or do you feel like you were not that way for a while and then changed?
Yeah.
It's just your spirit is so
Yeah.
great.
So I really think like I've always like kind of stuck out for my smile and stuff and like I'm always kind to people. But definitely there are times where I was like especially at Opera, I was very like stressed out, very anxious all the time. I was just like unhappy and I didn't realize that for like the longest time until like I left and I was like, okay, like that was like not good, you know? And I actually like was very like troubled in my spirit, very just shaken, very like controlled by fear, I guess. And that was a real dark time for me. And I'm just so grateful that like God brought me out of that. And now I just have a spirit of light and joy and I'm just so grateful for that.
So since you have this great relationship with children, it seems, and you'll have a great relationship with Jesus, are you interested in when you get your interior design, like designing preschools and churches, or you got larger?
That would be really cool, yeah. So I love kids so much. They're like amazing in every way, I think. At Maranatha, I'm gonna get to lead toddlers and little kids this summer. And at first I thought like I was gonna pursue something in that like department. I was gonna like do education, like preschool education or something like that. But I really wanna like take that as a hobby more than like my professional like job, because I feel like if I really like take that gift of liking children like I am right now during the summer, I love kids so much, but like there are days where I'm like, I can't do it anymore, you know? There's a baby in my like
We all feel that way.
Yeah, there's like a baby in my arms and it won't stop crying and I'm like, I don't know how like I'm gonna be a mom one day, because I'm like, there's just so many like kids everywhere. Yeah, like we have like 20 kids at one point and there were like 2 workers and it was terrible, so like yeah. But I do definitely like wanna do something with that. Like I think I'm gonna like babysit on the weekends at college and I really wanna be part of the children's ministry in college too. And yeah, I just love kids, so they're great, but yeah.
Yeah, well, go even further and talk about what you've envisioned using your degree for.
So for my degree in interior design, I hope to make spaces for people with disabilities. I hope to bring a perspective into that because with a wheelchair, like you don't know like how much room they're gonna need to get through a doorway. And I think we should really be considering that in design because there's not a lot of people who like bring that perspective. So I'm hoping that that's gonna be being unique in getting a job someday and like bringing that perspective in there. So I really hope to be doing that in the future when I graduate.
What drew you to the area of interior design?
So I took a class this past year, my senior year, for interior design with a teacher that I absolutely love. She's actually retiring this year, and I got to like give a speech about her and send her off, so it was great. But she really opened my eyes to that department. She's the family and consumer science teacher. So I took child development with her too in like foods class. So she taught interior design, and I kind of fell in love with it because she had us just like planning out different spaces like the bathroom, the bedroom, kitchen, like so I just found a lot of fun in that and like going through magazines and cutting stuff out and designing like what it looks like on the inside. So that's kind of like why I got inspired to like go into that major. Like, and I also like grew up like drawing houses and like drawing like different things that would be inside the house. So it's kind of always been a little hobby of mine. I just didn't realize it. So yeah.
You could make money at it.
Yeah, exactly. So
When you had, talk about some of the challenges again, going back to like high school and those kind of years. What was kind of, where did you lean on? What was your source of strength? I mean, easy answer is God. Okay, but in reality, how did that manifest itself to you? In other words, when you were down, what did you turn to? Sometimes when you didn't feel like you had friends, and what was your support?
my parents. Okay, literally, like I came home a lot and cried, and they always point me to Jesus. Like always do that, but like they were kind of always the people I just went to, as a sense of support. And also, my best friend at my school, she just understood a lot what I was going through because she was going through it too. So we got to share our stories with each other, and we were kind of like the backbone of each other throughout all these years. So it's gonna be weird not having her in college, but she's kind of like my soul sister too. So like, but she was definitely a big support for me through that. But also my family, they were just really helpful through all my struggles. So yeah.
Did you read that question Steve Denny put up there?
No, do you see it?
I said before you conclude, can you please introduce us? Can you see
Can you see the rest of the message?
message interface on there?
Oh yeah.
To do what?
I'm not sure.
It said ... So like it's too much.
Before you conclude, for those of us on Zoom, could you please introduce us to? They haven't been able to see me apparently.
It couldn't,
Oh, the camera wasn't
They
pointing.
want to know who I am.
Just come and stand in front of the camera.
Oh.
And the camera's right over the center of the floor.
It's right there.
You can even do a little pirouette.
There you go.
I'm Emily Bird.
You're not gonna do a spin for him, Emily?
Oh,
We can't hear you, Steve.
Thank you very much, I could read it.
Oh, okay, cool. Of course.
So true to Emily, being a kid who overcomes, we were scheduled to fly to Birmingham on Wednesday night for orientation. Our 10 p.m. flight was delayed all the way through 12:30 and then they canceled it. They rebooked us on a flight at 5:15 a.m. Thursday morning, so.
But we were actually at the airport
Yeah.
when they canceled it, and it was like 12:30, I think, or something like that. So like we were already tired.
We ran home, got 2 hours of sleep, went back to the airport, flew to Birmingham, got to the hotel, and Emily was sick.
Yeah. I threw up, it was fun, so.
We now know that she has a shellfish allergy.
Yeah, it was the morning of my orientation and I just started like getting sick and I cried. I was like, this is my orientation day. But I eventually made it like at noon. I recovered, not entirely, but I was like, no, I'm going to my orientation because we're here. And it was great. Like the first day was absolutely awful because I'm like so tired and I don't want to be social. And I'm like just not feeling it. But the second day got a lot better. So yeah. But it was a journey to get there.
I was talking to Emily's dad, and he said that a lot of times, not Emily's dad, sorry, Becky's dad, and he would say that your mom would say, okay, you have this problem, what are you gonna do about it? And so, and that, was that something that you think helped you, or would you get mad, or do you remember,
Yeah, my first instinct would probably to get mad, but I would change it really quick, I think, because I've been through so much in my life already, it's crazy. And every time I just see an obstacle, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna overcome this, I just don't know how yet, and like, I would just pray about it and know like I'm gonna overcome that obstacle in the end. But yeah, try to keep a positive attitude by it.
Could you maybe say a little bit more about your experience in Costa Rica?
Sure, yeah.
I just think it's really valuable
Yeah.
to get out of our nice, comfortable USA into a different environment.
Yeah,
See different
no.
things.
I got real culture shock when I was in Costa Rica. We like got off the plane and there were like motorcycles everywhere and the roads were like a mess, like cars just like drive like on the highway, but like it's always just crowded there, like every day, like it's like traffic, it's like Chicago traffic, like there. And motorcycles were like weaving like in and out, like inches away from like our bus, and I was like, we're gonna die here. So, we got to our hotel, and I feel like a lot of like the kids on our flight really complained a lot too, cause like our teachers really hyped up like our hotel and our whole experience, and like they're like it's a tropical like experience, and we got to the hotel and we're like, oh no, this is not a tropical experience. Like it was actually a really hard week for everyone because like the breakfast and the food was like all different, and the water, like you had to like get different water. I accidentally like drank all the tap water, it was bad, so I got sick after that. But it was a really hard experience for everyone, and we got to the place where we were working, and we rode a bus down there, and I wish I could show you guys a picture.
Well, here, let me just, while I'm thinking about it, there you go.
Makes more sense.
So,
Eating part comes
So we actually like drove down to the place where we were gonna work, and there was like, this was the road, right? And we're driving down this road, and it's a train track too, like on the side. And then like feet away from the train track is a cliff where you could just like fall and like never come back. And it was just scary because we drove like inches away from this cliff, I swear. I thought like we were gonna tip over. And we went into the gate and we had to walk this like to the place where we were gonna like build the home. But we saw these kids like playing on the train track, and like they have to like, there's a bridge actually that bridges that gap, that cliff that it goes down to. And there are kids who like walk on that like singular train track to school. Like every day, yeah. And they could just like fall over if the train comes at the wrong time. Like they could just like die. It's crazy. And like the kids know exactly when the train is coming. They're like, say, oh, train, in like Spanish. And like they just know like where everything is going. And it's just crazy. Like the conditions they're living in, their houses, are like just made of like scrap and metal. The one that we built was a lot more like structured and good, but like their conditions are just like so dirty. Like there was a kid I think, and he got like entertainment out of like a single like marble, like for hours. It was crazy. I just watched him play with this marble and like flick it around, and I'm like, there are kids who like have so much more and like they're still complaining about what they don't have. And like this kid like gets it. Like the world just doesn't like see it, you know? So, but it was a real like good experience for me and my spirit, I think, because I learned a lot from that experience. Just like knowing how much I have versus what other people don't have. And how I wanna like see, like I hope one day, I think it'd be cool to like go overseas on missions to like do interior design in that too and like help with the structure and the building because I did that a lot there too. But it was just a really good experience for me, and it just kind of breaks my heart that they're still there, like they're still living that life, and like we just came for a week and then left, so it's just kind of heartbreaking through that. But like, yeah, so it was a good experience overall.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming. It was just a wonderful thing, and you know that we are going to be definitely praying for you, even though you're not going to be with us for the next year. And I want to just give her a send-off prayer. Dear God, thank you for the journey that you've led Emily on and the journey before her. Thank you for all the possibilities you have, and thank you for her strength, and thank you for walking with her, and thank you for the family that she has in her home and the family that she has in this church who will always be by her side wherever she goes. In your name we pray. Amen. And next week, Bill Todd is going to be speaking about where he is in his journey. Thank you all for coming.